Hello Flosstube, welcome to Snickerdoodle Stitch. My name is Kathleen and this is a channel about cross stitch. So I've got lots to share with you this week. Well, first of all, thank you for everybody for joining me. If you're returning, thanks so much. Thank you to everybody who comments and likes. And if it's your first time here, welcome. So I'm gonna start out this week with my stitching, but since I visited you last, I've been to Stitch New England in Warwick, Rhode Island. That was sponsored by Stitch New England. And then I was at Sweater Weather in Philadelphia this past weekend, and that was sponsored by Rebel Stitcher. Both are fantastic retreats. They're very different. Stitch New England is 300-ish people. Huge venue, and Sweater Weather is 100 people. So just big difference in the vibe and all the things. So I'll share more about the retreats. I'm going to do my stitching first, then I'll do a little retreat sharing. I've got some haul, some that I bought and some from freebie tables at both retreats, and hopefully I'm going to be able to keep all of this stuff straight since I feel like I just got home from New England, was really only home a few days, and then it was time to pack again and head off to Philadelphia for Sweater Weather. I'm feeling a little discombobulated. Like, I was trying to even remember what the room looked like at Stitch New England, and I couldn't even picture the room. I did finally picture it. I remember my table mates, and then I could picture where the table was and everything. But for a moment, I was like, oh, I have done too many retreats. That was only 2 weeks ago, and I already can't picture it. I'm good now. I remember what it looked like. But let's dive into stitching. I have an FFO, and it is from this Winds of Autumn book from Blackbird Designs. I did this one last year. It's been hanging by my front door this fall. And then the one I was finishing now was this one. So I finished it a little bit differently. Here's a bigger picture of what theirs looks like. I had a piece that I wanted to use for the FFOing, and so I made some minor changes. I didn't put the zigzag edge on because that was going to make it a definite shape, width and height, which wasn't going to work for me. And I left off this vase of flowers, and I also left off these little random X's that are in here. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. I did this on 32 count needle and flax Steinbeck, and it's just a flax colored fabric with very subtle modeling on it. It almost, like, I kept looking thinking I just needed to iron it. It almost just looked like every here and there was a spot that needed to be pressed out, only that was actually the modeling. So here is my finished piece, and this piece I bought at, I think, Michael's. It's Ashland. I think that's Michael's. For $1.50, I got it on the 90% off either last Halloween or the Halloween after. I'm big on going in after season or really close to the season when things are significantly marked down, and just looking for pieces that would work for finishing. And I bought this then. It had the little crow up here. I did put the ribbon on, but there was underneath my stitching, there's a piece, and I can't remember what it said now. It was some Halloween poem-y saying kind of thing. And I just stretched my finished stitch piece around a piece of mat board and then have glued it down on there. So it fit perfectly without the, you know, if I kept that X border, it wasn't going to fit on here. It's going to be too tall. I did put the bit on the bottom just to create some grounding, literally ground. But there is my piece. I used all of the called for floss, which was overdyed, except for the house. And the reason, it was supposed to be the same color as the tree and the owl, and that is Black Coffee from Classic Colorworks maybe. But I used a full skein on here. I only had about 12 inches left. I didn't have enough to do the house. And I had originally been toying with the idea of doing the house in black anyway, and that's what I did. I just did the house in black. But other than that, it's all the called fors. I kind of like the original better with the X border and the little X's in there, but I like this too. So don't be afraid to modify your patterns and take off things that you don't want to do or add things. Mix and match patterns. And then this is just some gingham ribbon that I tied in a double bow and glued up here. So it is all finished just in time for one day of Halloween. Actually, it's been done for a week or so now. So I've had it sitting here on my desk, but I don't know, I may use this in a smalls exchange next year. Although I'm not entirely sure what retreats I'm going to go to next year. But yeah, this was my finished piece from the Blackbird design book. Really, really happy with that. I debated putting cording around too. It was going to be a little odd at the top and bottom, and I decided that it didn't need it. So that's my finished piece. And then I have a finish. Not FFO'd, but I don't want to FFO this one this year, and I'll explain why in a minute. The Something Wicked from La Di Da. It's got the By the Pricking of My Thumb, Something Wicked This Way Comes on it. And I was an English major. Shakespeare was my favorite. I took several semesters of Shakespeare. And so I have this one, and here it is all finished. It is on some fabric that I dyed myself using Rit dyes. It's on Ada. It's 18 count, and it did get a little tight. It shrunk a tiny bit, although I can't say, I think it's still pretty close to 18 stitches per inch, but the holes got smaller. So I did use 2 strands for the whole thing. I wanted this black to be nice and solid. And that's why I did go ahead and use the 2 strands, because I wanted to make sure that the boot popped. You all heard me whining about stitching the boot. The boot was a pain in the neck. It was a lot of, you know, just from here to here across this bottom was like 300 stitches. So it was a lot of stitching of black. But I love it now that it's done. And the reason I'm not going to FFO this year, this is only half this piece of fabric here. I've got it folded in half. And there is a piece, same dimensions, that is the quadrant bubble. It's got a long witch's nose on it. So I want to do that one next year, and then I'll frame both of these. So I did meet my goal. My goal was to finish this year. Let me hold it up closer so you can see it while I'm talking. I did, although sorry, it does blow out a little bit when I get it up too close. My goal was to finish this year so that I could finish the one next year, and then I will have the set done. So that is my finished piece. I'm not sure why I have it down so close here. I was thinking maybe the pattern, the pattern has a single stitch border all the way around, which I did not do. I didn't want that, partly because that limits me then in frame dimensions, although I suspect I'm going to have to order frames for these. I don't think I'm going to be lucky enough to find a standard frame that's going to work, but I thought maybe I had it down lower because that line was up higher and I just used the dimensions from the pattern, but the line is right here. So I'm not sure why this is down so low. It'll work anyway. Where it's really tight is on the sides, depending on what kind of frame I get, and that may force me to buy a custom frame. I may have to stitch some fabric on so that I have a little more to work with for stretching, but if I do a custom frame, I'll be okay. So really happy with the way that came out. And thank you to my friend Maureen, who suggested that I use she referred to it as the marigold colored fabric, because I was looking at some greens and a blue, and then she suggested this, and I love it. It's kind of hard to tell. The words are actually in green. Yeah, I guess if I hold it a little closer, they're a grayish green, but they are a green, and that green is not really popping on the marigold, but other than that, really happy with this. So it's finished. So that's my FFO and my finish. This one is an almost finish. So this is Fox and Rabbit, which is Hearth. This was an exclusive for Garon Sticherey for Stitching in the Wild. It should become available, I'm going to guess, for next Halloween, because Gary said he thought she was planning to do a series of witches, or at least one more. He referred to it as a series. She must have an idea for another witch to go with it. So I'm going to guess this will be out next Halloween. And I was not originally going to stitch this. You know, he had several exclusives there at Stitching in the Wild. All Halloween, or there was a pumpkin that I have that, even though it's a jack-o'-lantern, it's a very happy, smiley jack-o'-lantern, so I think it would work all fall. It's not, you know, like the snaggletooth kind of thing, or frowny or anything. And I wasn't originally going to get this one, but Karen and Brendan were there at Stitching in the Wild, the, you know, Fox and Rabbit folks. And so this one seemed like a fitting piece to actually start there. So I did get it, and I started it there. And I made a lot of progress. I'll look and see if I have a picture of where I was before. I pretty much had like here up done, and I didn't have any of this cream or red in. So the only thing I have left to do on here are some bats, the happy, and the end of, you know, the E end here to fill out Halloween. And then one of the bats is backlit by a moon. I really would like to finish this year. You are going to be seeing this on Friday, November 1st, but I'm actually filming on Wednesday the 30th. I can't film tomorrow night like I normally would because it's Halloween and I've got to give out to trick-or-treaters. So I may still work on this over tonight when I'm done, and then tomorrow night, and see if I can get this finished. That moon, though, by itself is like 300 stitches. So I don't know. I think I can still get it done. I would really like to finish this year, even if I don't get it framed, just to have the stitching done and not have another whip this close to done, because I'm going to show you I have another piece that I'm not going to be able to get finished this year that I thought I would. This piece, and thank you to everybody who sat with me at retreats the last 2 weekends and listened to me whine stitching this skirt. This skirt on this piece, and I'm including the pumpkin in this count, is almost 4,000 stitches. It's like 3,700 stitches. So I felt like I was stitching this purple forever. I did have the pumpkin already done last time you saw this. I had like her bodice and up and arms and the pumpkin. So at the retreats the last 2 weekends, I spent several days just working on the purple in the skirt. And I will confess, I cheated. So see how these motifs are actually like rows and then they're offset? I did cut out one set of these somewhere here in the middle, and then I eased in the side so that it wouldn't be obvious. But she technically should be about a ½ an inch longer, but I don't plan on stitching this altar thing here with the candles. It would be cute by itself. I don't want it on here. I actually like the way it looks, just that. So I'm going to not stitch that altar, and because of that, I was able to shrink the skirt up a tiny bit. It actually was fairly simple. This is a repeating pattern. You do get in a rhythm. It just takes forever because it's a lot of stitches. So it was fairly simple to cut out. I just marked on I had a working graph, and I just crossed them out on there so that I wouldn't get confused then. But I did cheat and cut out a couple rows, probably like a finger's width in the middle here. This is on 32 count Murtog from Fabrics by Stephanie, and really happy with the fabric. I'm glad I picked the blue instead of the cream. They were selling, maybe they called for, they were selling something close to what the model stitched on, but they sold out of it by the time I decided that I did want to stitch this. And so Stephanie was there, and I went through her fabrics and picked this out to stitch. And I love this side is very blue with just hints of brown. The other side is almost the opposite. So a lot more brown, just some hints of blue. And I was really torn with, it's looking darker on camera than it really is. I was really torn with what the heck I would ever do with this half, and thinking I was going to have to sell it, you know, on a D-stash or give it away on a freebie table or something. But we were looking at it this last weekend. I know why it's looking darker too, is because I didn't iron this half. I ironed this half. We were looking at it with my table this weekend, and it does have kind of a sand color and look to it. So I may hang on to it in case there's something beachy related that I might want to stitch on it at some point. I don't, 32 count is pretty handy to have around, so it is my go-to. But here she is. Hopefully you'll be seeing her next time completely finished. Fingers crossed. I would like to, like I said, I would really like to get that one finished, even if it's not framed, because, and I will show you next, I'll go out of order from what I have stacked here. I do have another one that I thought I would get done this year, but I overestimated how much I had actually finished last year. So this is Nora Corbett. It's one of the Bewitching Pixies, and this one is called Gigi. And I thought I had most of her dress done, but I will put a picture in here. What I actually had done was just the drapey part of the dress that she's holding and the broomstick. And I didn't have any of her body, hat, head, but here is where I'm at now. So I'm really happy with the progress I made on her. I did all of the black in here, all of her bodice here, and her hat. So you can see her head's gonna go in here, and this is actually her arm here. I only have two colors of light blue to go in here in the shading, and then her dress will be completely done. And then there is some beading. The beading really just drapes down here. There's a little bit around her neck, and there's a little bit around the top of the broom. But to finish her skin and this and the top of the broom and do the beading, I'm not going to get this done. I'm done with Halloween stitching. I'm ready to move into some fall, and I'm really ready to move into Christmas, but I got some fall stuff I want to work on first. So she's not going to get done this year. I think this is the end of the stitching she's going to see this year. And I was having a really good time stitching her. I always forget, like Mirabilias have, for me, the perfect amount of counting and color changes. I can stitch for a long time with the same color, but it's not just solid rows back and forth. There's a lot of counting, and I think that's probably my happy spot with stitching. So I was having fun with her. I really wanted to keep stitching on her, but I knew the Fox and Rabbit piece was more likely to be achievable to finish this year, and so I did focus a little more on it. I got a couple days solid stitching on this, but I did force myself to work on the Fox and Rabbit. So that's where she's at. She is on 32 count Caramel Kiss from Grace Notes, and it's very nice to stitch on. One thing I really like about Stephanie and the Grace Notes fabric is they maintain the integrity of the fabric really well. They're not pilly, they're not shrunk, the holes aren't shrunk. Just really nice saturated colors, and but the fabric is very much like stitching on maybe a softer version, because it has been wet, like not washed, but it's been soaked. Maybe just a slightly softer version than what Zweigart would be itself, but very, very nice to stitch on. And I know they're not water fast, but I have a fine mister that I spray my pieces with before I iron. Now, they're not sitting there soaking wet. It is a fine mist, and then I immediately hit it with a really hot iron. But I have never had any of their colors bleed. So, I'm not saying go wash your Grace Notes or Stephanie fabric. But they will hold up to misting with a fine mist bottle. So mine is one that is sold for hairdressers. Mine is actually marketed to quilters, but you can find them on Amazon for hairdressers, and they're a fine spray mist, and so you don't get any of the spurts and speckers of water. It's just a very even fine mist. So the last thing I stitched on was Pumpkin Row from October House Fiber Arts. This is the pattern, and my friend Lana was stitching this too, and that was fun because I'm stitching mine 1/1 on 25 count linen, and Lana's doing 2/2 on something 28, maybe 32. I don't remember what her count is. She's Silly Notion Stitcher on Flosstube, so you could see her. She started a different spot. She actually started on the bottom, so she's got all the lines and the word pumpkin done. I don't have that done. I started with the pumpkins in the middle. Now, I'm not very far on this. So this, when I went to Stitch New England, I was doing some sightseeing for a couple days on my way up there. I spent some time in Connecticut, went to Mystic Harbor, or Mystic Seaport, and so I had a couple nights of hotel stay where I was on my own. There wasn't retreat stuff. It was just kind of my end of day. I'm done sightseeing. I'm done dinner. I just need to go back to the hotel and veg. So each night I got a different pumpkin done. And these are with overdyed floss. I'm not sure 1/1 you need the overdyed, and I'm not really crazy about the way the one straight pumpkin's looking, but I think I'll be happy with it once they're all done and have their little green stems. But I did only get 2 of the 7 pumpkins done there. I'm going to keep working on this since there is nothing Halloween about this. It just says pumpkins. So you will likely be seeing this again. Let me see if I can get it to focus if I hold it up really close. It's so tiny 1/1 that it's hard to see. I know. This is just on cream 25 count Lugana. I just dug and stashed for something. I don't think I had a little piece of this. I think I cut it. I was just looking in my 25 count, and most of my 25 count and that kind of range was Lugana and not cream colored. So this is what I had that was a color that I liked the pumpkins on. It's not looking, well, you can see this is white, this is not, this is cream. So those were my pumpkins. So that was all of my stitching. Where to start with this stuff? All right, Stitch New England, when we checked in there, so Stitch New England, as I mentioned, is put on by the shop is Stitch New England. She has a Flosstube, Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. I watched her Flosstube long before she had the shop. The retreat is about 300 people, and they haul all kinds of stuff over from her brick and mortar shop. Her brick and mortar shop was actually about, I think, 40 or 45 minutes north of where we were. So we were in Warwick, which is just south of Providence. And so I did some sightseeing in Connecticut on my way up. I hadn't been to Mystic since I was a kid. And then on my way back home, I stopped at something mansion. I stopped at a mansion in Tarrytown and toured it. I had planned on going to Gillette Castle, which I remember going to as a kid. It's one of 2 things that I remember from a New England trip that my parents took us on when I was about 5. But I was there on the 16th, was the day I would be visiting. And the evening of the 15th at the hotel, I'm on my phone looking just to see, you know, what time is it open? Do I need to buy a ticket? All that kind of stuff. And realized that tours stopped for the season as of October 14th. So I missed it by 2 days. But anyway, we checked into Stitch New England. Loved the way she did it. She just had everybody, when they opened the doors, you went in and you found your seat. And then you went up to the long tables in the back of the room and you checked yourself in and picked up your bag with your name on it. And that was so much faster and more efficient than waiting in a long line to do the check-in. So that was fantastic. And then in our bag, so we've got like a bag here. We got a pattern from Stitchy Prose called A Beacon of Hope. And a floss pack with the flosses that would be needed to do A Beacon of Hope. And a really cute finishing. She's got like chenille on here that you could also use for finishing. I'm going to use this as a quilt binding winder. When you go to bind a quilt and you make all the bias tape, you can have yards of it, and people often wind the binding on something like this, and that way as you sew it on, you're not dealing with yards and yards of this loose binding. What else is in here? There are little charms, a little lighthouse in a 2024, a little pair of snips that say Stitch New England, and oh, I can't show you that. And there was a pattern on the table of a little owl on top of, I'm not sure what, and it says Boo Hoo, and it's from Bent Creek. Oh, owl on an egg. The egg says Boo Hoo. Like WHO, like an owl would say. Little pun going there. So that was our check-in bag at Stitch New England. My friend Lana at the table, oh wait, my smalls exchange. So I did do the smalls exchange at Stitch New England, and mine is actually from one of my table mates, and it was this really sweet ornament. And we kept meaning to ask her, I mean, it's got beads on it, and she just has it finished, not just, but she has it finished on a wooden tag, which I'm looking to see, did I scratch it up or get something on it? Which has inspired me. I want to go buy some wood tags now and finish this way, because it's really clever and is very polished. The finishing is just gorgeous on it. She's got little pom-poms around there. There's beads up here. I don't know if you can see those are beads. And then this is actually a button for the snowflake. And the little reindeer has some blue beads on it, but really sweet. I gave the brick that I had made with the little house, schoolhouse and kids on the swings. And then table gifts, my friend Lana gave everyone a little like needle book. Really sweet. It's made with it's flannel inside, and lots of hand stitching for her to stitch these together. But yeah, really cute needle book. Again, she's Silly Notion Stitcher on Flosstube. And then other things I got, I've got 2 retreats happening here, and I'm trying not to mix them up. And I think I've lost some stuff here, or it's just not in here. One of my table mates gave us some floss and these really cute Halloween floss drops. So I think it is scrapbook paper that had all these little cards on it, and she's cut them up and made the cutest set of floss drops. And then I don't remember what that is. And then one of the table mates gave a card with a needle minder on here. This card is from Northumberland Sampler House, and I hadn't seen those before. And there's a needle minder stuck up here. Let me see. I got lots of lens wipes, wet wipes, a couple more. Ooh, those are some strong magnets. A couple more needle minders. This one's little wooden leaves. This one, I don't know if you can see, they were buttons that she snapped the back off of. And I didn't even think about it. This is one of the mice from Cinderella's Mice, but I collect mice, so I love this one. She had them on a cookie sheet or panel or something, and you could pick which one you wanted. This I thought was cute. They've made a little envelope, craft envelope, and it's a lens wipe in there. So cute, clever packaging for lens wipes. I have a floss drop with some bling. That is from Two Crust Stitchers on Flosstube. I need to put this in my pile over here to check out the Flosstube. And this is a cute little tin from Leslie. And in the tin, there's everything from some thread. There's a couple band-aids. There's a couple needles. There's a needle threader. This is like a miniature tacky bob. That would be really handy for travel to have that in this, along with these other things in here. And then somebody on the freebie table, one person had a bunch of stitched pieces, and I missed it, but I was walking around handing out, I gave to everybody there a set of floss drops. This is my old cat Jax, who I lost a few years ago, but he was very photogenic, and when I was looking through photos for something to put on floss drops, I decided on Jax. I love the orange boys. So when I was handing these out, someone said, "Oh, did you see the orange kitty on the freebie table things?" So they actually gave it to me, somebody who had already picked it up off the freebie table. But I don't know if you can see, there's a little ghost and the orange cat. And it's just a little stitched piece, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. But something. And then somebody else had a whole bag of these little heart pins. I'm probably gonna attach this to a tote bag. But they are, see, even the back is cute. They, I am pretty sure, are recycled antique quilts. And she's stuffed them and done the button stitch around the heart shape and stitched on the little button. I mean, a lot of work went into these. And she had a whole bag of probably 50 of them on the table. So love that. All right, I think that is all the freebie stuff from there, at least without me being here all night showing you freebie stuff. Those are just some highlights of stuff that I got. And I'm hopefully not insulting anyone, not showing their stuff, but I just have too much stuff from 2 retreats to show everything. So that was Stitch New England. This last weekend was sweater weather in Philadelphia. And that's the closest one to me. It's only about 55 minutes for me to get to the hotel where it was from here. So when we checked in there, we got a bag with her Sweata Weather. Stitch retreat. And she does have the little, she has a pug and French bulldog maybe. And last year and this year, she brought both dogs as part of just a couple hours where she did fundraising for a local animal shelter. And I'll show you something that I got there. I didn't kiss the dogs. I'm not a dog person. I'm a cat person. But in our bags, we had... I think this was in my bag. A sweater weather... a needle minder from Rebel Stitchers, and I'm pretty sure you can get this directly from the Rebel Stitchers website. We got a coupon for 15% off our next purchase. Or present postcard in store. I maybe could have used it there. And then from Stitcherdelphia, there's a pattern of a Philly pretzel. So for anyone that doesn't know, soft pretzels are a Philly thing. They're huge there. The hotel every afternoon put out soft pretzels. That was pretty sweet. We looked like a pack of wolves, all 100 women descending downstairs to go get the soft pretzels every afternoon when we learned they were there for the day. And then we got a witch apothecary labels. So these are designed, long skinny designs to go around jars. And she had a table with like 3 different sizes and styles of tins. And we all got to... It was later after we were all stitching and stuff. We all got to go up and pick out which tin we wanted. So this is my tin. It'll be handy for something. And then, not during check-in, but we checked in Thursday at noon. Is that right? No, Friday at noon. We checked in Friday at noon. And then Saturday evening, it was called the floss something, and none of us were sure what it was. Well, it was grab bags. She dumped all these grab bags on the table, and they called numbers, and you got to go out and pick up a grab bag, and they all had different flosses in them. And mine had a DMC pearl cotton, which will be nice. I have been wanting to stitch one of the bags, not this kind, they're a plaid. Fat Quarter Shop maybe first started them. Shepherd's Bush has a bunch of patterns to go on the bags I'm trying to describe. Hopefully you know what the heck I'm talking about. And I have a few of those bags, and I have a few patterns for those bags, and I'm thinking this will be nice on that. I know I did already buy some pearl cotton for that. And then I got a skein of Extrude Designs, and this one is called Olive Fruit. But it's a nice, you know, I tend to use the blue greens, especially in the darker colors. And sometimes just a little bit of a lemony, limey color makes those dark blue greens pop. I debated using a color not quite this bright, but a variegated one that had a little bit of this kind of color in it on my 1 dozen Quakers. I decided not to, but it does make the greens pop. So that was in our check-in bag there. And at the table, my friend Lana again, the same one that made the little needle books for Stitch New England. Lana was at both these retreats with me. She made us Ort catchers. This is a nice size. I have a few. They tend to be smaller. Sometimes it's nicer to have the bigger size, especially like there where we were eating lots of candy and junk food and had wrappers and things. And then Beth at my table, hi Beth, gave everybody these really sweet tins. It's a little bigger than an Altoid tin, and she's decorated them with washi tape and a little sunflower. And then inside, if I can get it to open now, she's got a really big magnet and cute little felt. It says Philadelphia, and then there's this needle minder in there that's a little tiny Philly pretzel. How cute is that? I love the little Philly pretzels, so that was cute. Let me see. Laura from Costa Rica was there. I know Laura from the Stitching in the Wild retreats, and she is well known for bringing little bags with candy from Costa Rica, so they are fun. And there's a really pretty button in here that I have to figure out something to do with, and a really cute little fuzzy bee. Someone was walking around swapping. Let me see. It's Stephanie Familia, and she is at Will Stitch for Coffee, fueled by caffeine and chaos. And she was giving out, these are silks. I think she said they were from Silks for You. she was giving these out, and then I was there really late, and she came around again, so that's why I have 2 of them. I'm missing... So... Sorry, I got distracted because... Oh, maybe this is the silk. I have some silks and floss from someone at my table at Stitch New England, and I can't, it's not here. And then somebody else was handing out little grab bags, and they are General Arts limited edition thread packs. So I have some other General Arts limited edition threads. I think they are either ones where the color didn't turn out quite right, or they were made specifically for a designer or teacher for something that they were teaching for kits. And then when they were done teaching that, it's whatever was left. But my thread pack had beautiful fall colors in it. Everybody's thread packs were different. But mine had these gorgeous fall colors in it, which I love. And they're colors that are easy. I mean, if you need a brown, you need a brown. And I don't, you know, if it calls for one brown, I'm fine with looking at my limited edition ones and see if there's a brown there that's the right tone and lightness, darkness. Let me see. This is a little goodie pack with some Hershey Kisses and a waxer. It is from Mary Ann, the Ginger House Stitcher. I haven't, normally I go through and pull out a bunch of tags so they're by my chair and I know who I need to go check out their social media. The Happy Crafter, who's Heidi, gave out these, have New Jersey, little floss drop, but then with them was a little pack of Oreo cookies and M&Ms, which are both New Jersey. I mean, that's where they're made. So very great New Jersey gift. And then if you check out Stitching Past My Bedtime on Flosstube or Facebook, they had these at, I think Stitching in the Wild is where I saw them. Just little, really cute little notebooks with their sticker with their information on it. And this is great because I'm always bad about not writing my table mate's contact info down in a place where I then remember where I put it. Lana's much better than I am at that, but these little books are perfect for that. There's something else in here. There was other stuff in this baggie. That's my problem. I've cannibalized some of these packages already to eat things, and cute little zipper pull and a black tea bag. So anyway, that's all stuff from swapping and trading and all the fun things. Let's get into some shopping. And this is not, I know my Sweater Weather and my Stitch New England shopping is mixed together here, as is my haul from the freebie table. So this is not going to be in any, I maybe will remember where some of it came, which show some of it came from. For example, this. I mentioned that Colleen does a fundraiser at Sweater Weather for the local animal shelter, and you can do the kiss the dog thing. I didn't do that. I'm scared of dogs, so that's not going to happen. But she had really cute little pin sets, which were from jerseygirlstitchco.com. I haven't checked that out yet, but it's Teresa and Anna Cuneo, and they had little dogs and cats. I took the yellow cat. Little pin sets, and you got one of these with a donation, and they had a recommended donation, but I don't think they were policing it. I gave more than what they recommended because I'm actually familiar with that animal shelter, and it's a good cause. So I bought that. And then she had rolling drawers full of Cottage Garden Threads. And Cottage Garden Threads are so yummy. And I'm never sure what to do with them because they have very strong variegation. I mean, this one has like 4 colors in it. They actually both do. One is just a little darker than the other. But while I was eyeing these up, a thought occurred to me. And so I pulled up some patterns on my phone that I knew I had bought. And I'm going to use these for a couple of these ink circles. I did not buy these patterns at either of the retreats I was just at. I bought these patterns when I was at Acorns and Thread earlier this summer. But this ink circles, circular logic, may be hard to tell, but the actual circles, the outlines of the circle shape, are done in a solid dark color. And then all of the medallions that are within those circles are done in a variegated floss. They used Gloriana. So they used some variegated Gloriana for the centers. I am going to use probably like a dark navy for the circles. And then one of these two, I'm not sure which one, for the inside. Probably this dark, well, maybe this one. I have to think about this. And the other one I am going to use for different ink circles that I bought there, called the Bramble and the Rose. I'm probably going to do this one in the darker floss, the Sweetwater. This is Sweetwater, this darker one. I'm probably going to do it in this. And then I'm going to do this one in Hatchling, is this light colored one. But it will have a dark blue, all right, that's not working. It will have a dark blue DMC around it. I want to hang these both on the same wall. And these colors actually, they look very similar in person, just that this one is darker than this. And if I put dark on for the circles on this, that will create some balance in the two. So I did buy multiples of these so that I would be sure I had enough. And yeah, that's my plans for these. So I was excited that I finally came up with a way that I wanted to use the Cottage Garden Threads, which I always drool over and never really buy. I have some greens, but I've never bought one that is this strong a variegation where it is really just different colors, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with them. I think my friend Candy, the 614 Stitcher, is doing, I think it's an ink circles. And it's not Cottage Garden, but it's another thread that has some strong variegation to it. And I love the way hers was turning out. And that's what inspired me there. Then there is somebody new, Willoughby Ann. And I did try checking out her website. It looks like it's not up yet. But she did release these at market. So they're called Sue's Drops. And they are floss drops. But they have the big hole. And then they've got the little holes. So if you pull a strand off, you know, you've started stitching or something, you can put it right in the little hole. And I know sometimes that's handy. So I did buy a set of those. And then the same maker, Willoughby Ann, had thread keeps. And I can't pass a cat up if I pass one. So I got the wooden thread keep. I think the wooden thread keep was only like $8. So but both were very reasonable. I can't remember exactly how much these were. I know they were cheaper than some similar, but not exact. They didn't have 2 holes. I will say some lucite floss drops that I bought from Colleen last year at Sweater Weather. I'm running out of room. Let me see. I'm going to put this here so I remember to put Willoughby Ann out on the site. And then also at Sweater Weather, I was sitting next to Jennifer. She came over and asked if she could sit there. And she's actually from Delaware. So had a good time chatting with her and learning more about our local guild, which I keep thinking I'm going to join. but they do some months Zoom meetings and some months in person, and it's really hard to tell from their Facebook what is happening when. And so she was able to give me all the skinny on that, and also gave me some scoop on some stitching groups that meet up at a couple of our local libraries. I have several libraries within 20-minute drive. So there are two that have 2 different nights a month where stitchers meet. So thanks, Jennifer, for all those tips. But she was stitching this, and I had recently been looking at this pattern, and after seeing her stitch it, and Colleen actually had it there, Lana and I both went and bought this. It's a Mill Hill kit, and it's called Moonlit Treaters. Moonlit Treaters. And it's these really sweet little trick-or-treaters there with the moon in the background. Really cute stitched. I liked it. I saw it somewhere recently, you know, maybe in the feed on 123 Stitch or something, and thought, oh, that's cute. And I thought, no, I don't need another Mill Hill. But then when I saw it in person, and she was stitching a different Halloween Mill Hill each day and making really good progress on them, then I was like, you know what? I do really, really like that one. I haven't looked on the back to see what else is there. Yeah, this is the only one that is grabbing me from this collection, but I don't know how old this is. 2017. It must still be available though, because I don't know that Colleen has a lot of old stock sitting around. This was from Stitch New England. She had a trunk show from Frony Ritter Designs, and I got a couple of the mitten patterns. There was 1 or 2 more. I just picked out 2. On 14 count, these are pretty small. They're only maybe 2 inches by 2 inches. Yeah, they're just like 25 by 28 maybe. So fairly small. But really cute. I wanted all of them. I limited myself to 2. They have a lot of DMC colors and some beads. I'm gonna have to see if they have this. Yeah, it does look like they're using the same DMC colors for the most part, so that's nice because I could just kit them up together in one little to-go package, because I will do these on the perforated paper. So I picked those 2 up. It's Tiny Mittens set 4 and 5, so there must actually be 5 sets of these. And I liked the snowman and the plaid. Well, I liked all of them. The snowman and the plaid on this one. This one I liked the plaid. Actually, on this one I actually liked all of it. I'm not crazy about this flower, but those were cute. All right, and then I got a Primrose Cottage Stitcher, or Primrose Cottage. Why do I always want to add Stitcher? Oh, it's Primrose Cottage Stitches, the Halloween Quaker. And you might have seen, I've got several of the Quakers. I have the spring, winter, summer in the works. I haven't started winter, but spring and summer I started on my trip this summer, one of my trips. And I like the Halloween Quakers, so I have that. And I've got a couple other Primrose Cottage, so let me stick with that theme. I got Salem Sister Stitchery. This one just came out. And I was watching Stephanie stitch this at Stitching in the Wild. I'll have to link her Flosstube or her Instagram. She's a lot of fun and has beautiful stitching. And she was stitching this, and I was like, oh, I love that. And then when I looked it up, every place said coming soon. But Pam had it at Stitch New England, so I did pick this up. I think it fits in about a 9-inch hoop. Let me see. Well, on 14 count, it's just over 6.5 by 6.5. On 18 count, it's just over 5 by 5, which wouldn't fit in a 5-inch hoop then. Oh well, something to figure out later. I wanted to stitch that one anyway. And then this is a Primrose Cottage. This one is called Beautiful Things. And I believe this one is, yeah, copyright 2024. I think this is another new release. But I love the colors. I like the fonts. And it's all the stitching things. Beautiful things come together one stitch at a time. So I'm definitely gonna be stitching that one up. I have a few more things I bought. These are all from different people. By the Bay Needleart, and it's called Needleworkers Spot Motif Sampler. And oh, there's Stork Scissor Charm for the first 150 charts. So mine has the Stork scissors up here. So this must have been one of the first 150 charts, but really cute. You know, it says Needleart. It's sewing themed. I love the two ladies sitting here in the armchairs stitching. And then this pattern also does have the featherweight sewing machine. So it's both patterns in there. A lot of my friends are getting featherweights, and they're very popular for piecing, for quilting. So I probably won't be stitching the featherweight because all that black, we all know at this point, because we've heard me whine enough about it, how I feel about stitching that much in a single color. But I really wanted the pattern on the top. This I wanted since I saw things coming out in September. The virtual release, not Nashville Market, but there's the one later, late summer, early fall. And Silver Creek Samplers released this Love It Frost site, and I loved it and wanted it. I do like stitching Silver Creek Samplers. I think, again, for me, it's just the right amount of color changes, counting. They're just fun to stitch, and I love her typography. Her fonts are just, they're very unique. I can usually spot a piece and go, oh, I bet that's Silver Creek Samplers. So, but I love this Love It Frost site with the little snow globe and the snowman. I do love snowmen, but again, it's all that stitching all one color. But I keep buying snowman patterns, but this one is manageable. So it's not like a big, huge blob of weight. I got a Stitches by Ethel Black Cat Moon. So Stitches by Ethel has a series that fit in the little tart tins, the ones that are maybe 2 inches in diameter. But this will be a super fast stitch, and it's only, well, it's 5 colors, but one color is just the little brown whiskers and the smile on the moon. And I know I've got tart tins already. I don't think they're black, but I can always spray paint. There's another book that has 3 Halloween motifs in it that fit in tart tins. And then this is just the single one, kind of a companion piece, I guess. This would take like an evening to stitch. It is super fast looking at the chart. It's only 30 by 30, and there's a lot that's not stitched in there. So that'll be nice for just, you know, when you feel, it's nice. I like mixing up the big stitching things and the small ones, because I love doing the big elaborate pieces, but I need that sense of completion too. And so I love having little things like that I can mix things up with. All right, these next two are from Colleen from Rebel Stitcher, and I got them at the retreat. So this one is called Winter Quaker Snowy Owls, and just a nice winter piece. And I do love stitching Quakers, so I thought that one was very sweet. She had this one stitched up there. Sorry, I got distracted looking because it has some Cottage Garden Threads. This one just came out. She has this one and she has a beaver. And you'll laugh. This is called Snowy Friends. And there's all that white. But he was so stinking cute that I couldn't pass him up. I love the retro look. Colleen and I were talking about that. She likes the retro look too. She had little retro Halloween decorations on each of our tables. They were too stinking cute. But this snowman, I just loved him. So he's called Snowy Friends. He just came out. She said he was hot off the presses. This and a little beaver that was really cute. And then I have two things left. Flipping back to fall. This is Carriage House Samplings. I've never done anything from them before, I don't think. And it's called Fall Dance. And this is it. And I already know I'm going to swap out this orange for something that's less neon. Probably I'll do an overdyed. But here's what you'll laugh. Here's why I bought this pattern. I love the little witches all flying around. But look at this little witch here. That'd be me. I don't know if she's falling off her broom or if her broom has gone crazy, but she's upside down. And I just fell in love with that little upside down witch. I think she's fallen off because it almost looks like her dress is falling up over her head because there's not a head there between the dress and the hat. But they had a trunk show for Carriage House Samplings, so this was stitched up there. It's not very big, probably, yeah, 9 by 9. On 14 count, it would be 9 by 9. I'd probably do it on 16 count, so it's 7 3/4 by 7 1/8, so nice size. Not too much boring orange because there's words in there, and there's vertical lines on the pumpkin, so something to break it up. And then the last thing that I bought was Between Friends. And these are the collaboration books between Hands on Design and Summer House Stitchworks. And this is the fall one. And I saw Hands on Design. Let me find what I really want from here. I love everything in here, but what I saw first that had me going, ooh, 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 were these pumpkins. Let me see if I can show them without showing the pattern. So they show you how to make these pumpkins. So you stitch it, they have it charted out for you to stitch it on the orange fabric. And then there's instructions on how to assemble the little pumpkins with the stitching around the sides. And when I saw those, I thought, ooh, I really need that. So, yeah, that was part of why I got that. There are other things in here I love. This book is it's a little hard. I can't really flip it open to show you very well without breaking the spine of the book. But these Hands on Design Between Friends and Summer House Stitchworks Between Friends books have been a lot of fun. I have this one and I have the very first one they came out with. I don't have the second one. And the other thing I just would point out, Kathy Haberman does some clever things with finishing. I don't know that she finished this, but this frame, this back here, I don't know if it's fabric or if it is like scrapbook paper. Maybe fabric. This plaid. And then they've done just a flat mount and mounted the piece on here. And it's sort of a clever, more modern twist on matting. So back in the 80s, you always put mats on your stitched pieces. Now I think we all tend to think the mats can make things look a little dated, although sometimes still, you know, a mat is the way to go. But this just is a kind of a modern even though the look is not modern, doing this is a more modern twist on framing out using this instead of putting a mat on top of your stitched piece. It's a nice way to take a stitched piece that's smaller and put it in a bigger frame if you want some more heft to something too. You know, like if you've got a spot on your wall, you want to hang something, but everything you stitch tends to be smaller. This is a great way to get yourself a piece that's bigger and won't look silly floating on whatever wall you have in mind. So I love that too. She has another one. It's a fall piece and it's framed long ways, and the piece goes this way on one end, and then on the other end she actually has a piece of fabric and a piece of lace, and it's another way to take an odd shaped piece and make it work in a frame. She has some clever ideas for doing that. All right, where are we at on time? Oh Lord. All right, I have just a few things I'm going to show from freebie. I got a lot of freebie things. There were some fantastic finds on freebie tables. And I'm going to go through these pretty quickly here, except for one thing. I got another one of these doodads, which I love for certain types of stitching where I want to keep all of the... I want to keep a thread ready, a needle ready with each thread. But a couple things I got on freebie tables that I was particularly excited about. This was Rosewood Manor High Tide. And I think my friend Candy, 614 Stitcher on Flosstube, has this pattern. I remember us talking about the fabric. And I was saying, oh, I could dye fabric for that. And so I'm pretty sure she has this too. So I'm going to see if she started it already or if she wants to start it. And I think I'm going to dye fabric for it. The fabric was originally from Under the Sea, and we don't think, although it's just from 2023. I'll have to see if Under the Sea still makes this. It's Midnight Mermaid linen in 32 count, but so that fabric is like an ombre. And I do know how the Ritter dye website actually has instructions for how to do ombre dyeing. So it would be possible. It's just, do I want to mess with it? I'm going to have to talk to Candy about that one and see if she's already started it. Let me see. I picked up another Rosewood Manor Rust Rhapsody. Just a single color. It's one that would be easy to only do the top or only do the bottom or whatever pieces you want. This one I was excited about. Joan Elliott, Le Petit Jardin. And it reminds me of the Mary Poppins that I picked out this year that I started and then realized that border is going to take me a lifetime, but it's all good. Yeah, this is probably a kid's piece, but I don't care. I like it anyway. I like the little kids on it. There's little cats at the top. Yeah, that was a cute piece. So that was on a freebie table. Got a piece of purple linen. I got some other fabric too, but it's always nice to pick up something that, you know, I don't use a lot of purple. It's not my color, but it's nice to have in stash. Every now and then there's one of these Halloween things that really just screams for purple. And this is a pretty nice sized piece of 30 count eggplant. So I'll have that for stash. My friend Lana actually found the Silver Creek Samplers Winterful Friends. And it is not very big. On 32 count, it's only 2.5 by 5 1/4. It's pretty small, but it's cute. I don't think I've ever seen this. I was looking at it, trying to figure out, was it done for something, but I just somehow have never seen it. And she had a whole room at Needlefest Extravaganza this year. I got a Sweet Wing Studio, a little spring. So love those bright springy colors. That's a lot of color changes, but I love the colors on that one. Someone had the full kit with the soap floss and everything of Shepherd's Bush Spring Peeps box. So Shepherd's Bush has these boxes with the lids that you can put this needlework in, and this is just the needlework. It's not the box, but I don't really need or want the box anyway. But I thought the little stitchy part was cute. I got a Mirabilia Christmas Elegance. Oh wow, it was originally $8 from the Craft Menagerie. I don't even know who that is. There's not a photo on here, but Christmas Elegance, this is from 1994. Christmas Elegance is out of print. But I looked the picture up and I do really like it. I'm looking now to see. Okay. I was double checking that it wasn't some kind of crazy hand-drawn symbols that I'll never be able to read. I looked the picture up and this one's really pretty. So, I got Jardin Privé Eiffel Quaker. Oh, that's cute. And I got a Liz Matthews Berry Patch. Really cute. And again, these are from freebie tables from both weekends, and I have no idea which weekend is which. When I tried putting this stuff in order, there was just a lot happening with these two. I haven't even got my suitcase unpacked from this past weekend. Because I've only been home since Sunday evening, and it's Wednesday evening now. I go to dinner with friends every Wednesday evening, and I wouldn't normally film tonight, but tomorrow I need to give out to trick-or-treaters, and I do like to film so that I'm not up all evening, Friday evening into the night, fighting with YouTube upload to try and get it uploaded so that I can release it by Saturday morning at the latest. So that's why I'm later in the night and I don't feel as organized as I normally would be. And part of that's just because I have so much crap happening this week. But that is the end of my retreats for the year. So hopefully that's the end of my shopping too. I've given my Discover card a workout. Stitching for this week, I do want to finish the Fox and Rabbit if I can tonight and tomorrow night. And then Friday is the 1st and I'd like to be done. I want to keep stitching on the little pumpkins from October House. I have the Rosewood Manor Autumn Quakers, so I haven't stitched on that yet this fall. And then I have another fall piece that you guys actually helped pick me out. I had two that were very similar, same designer, and so I want to start stitching on that. So I have some definite fall pieces that I want to stitch on, and I'm really jonesing to start on Christmas, but I'm going to focus, I think, this week on just the fall stuff, and then also maybe work on figuring out what I have already in progress for Christmas. I haven't even started looking at that yet. So, and see if there's anything else I want to kit up for this year for Christmas. So that's my plans for this week. And yeah, I think that's everything. This is a long one for me. Hopefully I'll get some more stitching done this weekend. I need to clean the house, and my dad is getting a pacemaker on Friday. So we're not really sure what to expect with that. My brother's going down to take him and everything and staying over till Sunday morning, and then I'm going down Sunday. So I'll probably take some stitching with me, but it's hit or miss whether I actually get any stitching done at his house. He has a little dog that likes to get in my lap and get in the way. So it sort of depends what she's like and what she's doing and what's going on there, whether I actually end up getting any stitching done at his house. So that's my plans for the next couple weeks. And then I will be back again in 2 weeks. So happy stitching, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful fall. The weather's been gorgeous. It's a great time to get outside and do some stuff too, which then cuts into my stitchy time. But anyway, happy stitching, everyone. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.